Hello, everyone. Probably going to be a bit lower energy this time around because I just got done with a phone call, but I've been wanting to live stream for the past couple of days, and right now I've actually got some availability without having to go outside and risk sunburn. So I figured I'd take advantage of this time to potentially talk to an overseas audience, make sure that they're actually awake when I'm streaming, and talk about what's been going on lately. So I don't actually remember if we talked about the latest Nintendo Direct in the past live stream or not. Hey, Kevin, glad you could make it. I've been doing really great. I've actually, for the most part, first off, I went to the gym, so that's always a blast. And then I've been playing Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition, Switch 2 Edition. What a mouthful. And I'm actually surprisingly enjoying the Ether Jet sections. Like they manage they managed to make Xenoblade Chronicles into a racing game, which I find is so incredible. And it's a great showcase of the Switch 2's power to show that these huge detailed environments can still have a whole bunch of people racing in them, and it doesn't break the game, and there's no frame drops, and it just makes such a good case. What about yourself? How have you been lately? Again, I don't remember how much I talked about what was in the Nintendo Direct and what I liked in it. Ooh, guess what? Okay, I do love guess whats. You got another girlfriend. That's my first guess. Second guess is you pre-ordered one of the games in the Direct. Third guess is someone you know converted to Catholicism, or at the very least is going through OCAA. So was I correct? I'm usually pretty bad at these kinds of things, so hopefully I was at least close. Guess one was right. Nice. Congratulations. I hope that this is gonna be the one that ends up being the girl that you end up staying with the rest of your life. Would you ever date someone who's not beautiful, though? That's the question. Well, I guess women date men who are handsome. Hello, Hallelujah. You're seeing me on a bit of a quieter day, but you know what? Better quiet than not at all, am I right? Um, Also, thank you so much for letting me get a picture. I forget if I said this already or not, but thank you so much for letting me get a picture with you at the Catholic Creators Conference. Hopefully, that's given some traction on your channel. Yeah, I guess, like, I remember when I dated my ex, when I first met her, before I started being interested in her, I wasn't thinking all that much about, like, her physical appearance. Like, I didn't think she was ugly by any chance, but she wasn't, like, actively what I was saying, like, "Oh, man, I hope a girl looks exactly like her." Like, I'm pretty sure the only thing that she actually fit the description was, like, she had long hair. Like, I don't mind being around girls with short hair, but I think, like, I wanted someone with long hair so that I could feel like we could, like, look like siblings and people would mistake us for siblings, which people did, and I thought that was hilarious. And she ended up having the same shade of brown hair as I did, so I thought that was pretty cool as well. But it wasn't until after we were dating that I really started thinking, like, "Okay, yeah, she actually is very pretty." Like, so dating transformed our relationship so that I thought she was more pretty. And then after we broke up, it did dampen my ability to see how beautiful she was. But then after I forgave her, it, like, helped me to appreciate her again. You used AI to help flirt. Okay. Well, hopefully you told her that, cuz if she, if she ever found out, oh man, that reaction would be something. Hey Noah, glad you could make it. So glad you watched my Final Fantasy VII Rebirth review. that was that review was a bit of a test run to see how good my new headset would be, like if I should use that for future reviews. And I determined no, it is not good. Because yes, it made my words louder and more pronounced, but it sounds like I'm speaking into a can. So I don't think I'll keep that microphone. I'll use it if I like ever video chat with people. But you know, you always got to test things and see if it works. She doesn't know. I don't even know who she is, Kevin. Unless she's someone in this chat, I don't have any way of letting her know. Clearly, she must not be in this chat because you wouldn't put Paul don't tell her and then I'd read that out. So you must be pretty secretive. Haven't watched it yet? Okay. Hey, at least it's in your watch later. Yeah, no, I find your dream hilarious. If you want to share it with chat, that'd be great. I'm sure they'd get a kick out of it too. Just got a new laptop. Ooh. Hey, once you finish up that video, let me know because I do really want to watch it. I know I'll warn you right now, most YouTubers when they make their first video, they look back on it later and they say that it's one of the worst things they ever did. So just be warned that as time passes, you'll probably think less and less of it. But you're also starting YouTubing in 2026. So maybe you've learned from those of us who were floundering around not knowing what the heck we were doing and are going to be better than the rest of us. Hello there, Jevil. Glad you could make it in. Um, what were some of your favorite games in the Direct? Oh yeah, no, 100% agree. It was pretty bad. But one thing that I don't hear enough people talking about that was actually wonderful from that Direct was Xenoblade Chronicles Definitive Edition Switch 2 Edition. I've been playing quite a lot of that, and you know, Xenoblade Chronicles was my game of the year of 2020. So to have a better version of it that also has a racing mode. Sorry for the lag, guys. Avast tends to come at the worst moments. It won't be very good editing wise, but you know the content you want to share. Okay, cool. Very nice. I didn't even know you could remaster videos later. Maybe if I did that, maybe some of my older reviews would catch on a bit. I'll have to think about that. And here I thought I was the only one that didn't like it. Yeah, I called it the wasting everyone's time Direct. Because don't get me wrong, there were some cool announcements in there, like the Xenoblade games, Switch Sports, and Ocarina of Time were the three big highlights. Very remaster, just Oh, okay. That's cool. I hope that goes well. Not a Xenoblade fan? Okay. Hey, you almost have Deltarune. The chapter 5 is coming out on 2 Wednesdays from now. No Animal Crossing, nothing Mario. They had Pokemon. They had Pokopia DLC. Nothing Smash Brothers. To be fair, I wasn't expecting too much from Mario just because the 3D Mario team just made Donkey Kong Bonanza, so I think they might want to take a break, unless if it's something like Bowser's Fury, where it's more of like either a remaster or something on a smaller scale. I didn't expect them to do anything Smash Brothers related, because again, Sakurai just finished Kirby Air Riders, so he probably wants to take a break. You were disappointed? Oh, besides, okay. Good thing I read through that. Yeah. Yeah. It was definitely I'm not too good with, the American grading system, so I would say on a number scale, I'd probably say, like, 6 or 7, in my opinion. Metaphor being announced was definitely one of my highlights. Deltarune getting a release date. You've been playing Shadow Labyrinth, Jevil. That's cool. I played a little bit of that. I I s oh, that. You know, I think I finally understand what that's all about, and that's that IGN typically gives games a 6 and a 7. That, and there's a certain scene in Zero Escape that references the number 67 that no one ever catches, even if they're Zero Escape fans. I bet you would, though, Jevil. Nintendo has the weakest gaming event Unfortunately, I'm gonna have to disagree with that because I was thoroughly miserable during Summer Game Fest. I didn't even watch the whole thing. At least with Nintendo Directs, I figured like, okay, sure, it may be a weak direct, but there's got to be like some stuff in here that I like, and they ended it off with Ocarina of Time. So of course it was great. PlayStation had amazing announcements. I didn't watch the PlayStation showcase because I don't have a PlayStation system, but from what I heard, they were the first ones to announce what was it? Rayman. I think they announced something Rayman related. Xbox did an amazing job. Very nice. Yeah, that thumb war bit, I do feel like that dragged quite a lot, and he lost. That is that's the definition of a time waster. And here's the worst part of it. You guys are actually helping me regain my energy a bit by talking about the direct. They didn't put sword fighting in the newest Switch Sports, but they replaced sword fighting with jump roping and thumb wars. Like, I'm sure the thumb war will be a lot of fun, but jump roping, like they already have a jump roping game on the Switch. It's called Jump Rope Challenge, and it's free. And thumb wars, like, I can see people liking it because it's there, but I don't think anyone was clamoring for Nintendo to make a full game out of that. A music video with a kid doing the 67. I don't even know the 67 hand gesture. Don't remember anything you cared about for Xbox, PlayStation besides God of War. But even that, it kind of just. The Rayman game is a letdown. Uh, so, from what I've heard about Rayman Legends, I didn't watch too many of the trailers, but it looks like it's way more than just a remaster. Like, they're even going to make some levels in 3D. And there's like new levels, and you automatically get Rayman Origins Enhanced Edition. So you're technically only paying $40 for two games, which I think is a steal. And I'm normally the kind of guy that rents everything. I'm actually going to buy this. People are making jokes about him playing the Dumb Wars. If you're talking about Yoshiaki Koizumi in the Thumb War, I didn't hear that, but um, I've historically been very hit or miss with Thumb Wars. Thumb Wars annoys you in the direct because the nail polish? Oh, yeah. Yeah, I remember that now. Um, yeah, that is weird. You don't typically think of Mii's as having nail polish, but to be fair, I don't think they're making it the Mii bodies. I think the only thing they're having of the Mii's is the head, just like they did with Switch Sports 1. They could have put in scuba diving. Ooh, you know what? That actually is a cool idea. I would love to see that. Rayman Origins already came with Rayman Legends? The original Rayman Legends? Because I don't remember that. I know that there were like levels from it, but I didn't know the whole game came. And from what the trailer showed, it's just updating the Rayman Legends levels to be 3D. I don't know. That's cool to me. Like turning a 2D game and making it 3D, that genuinely sounds mind blowing. Like, just imagine if they did that for something like oh wait, they did. Celeste 64 is a 3D reimagining of Celeste. But for some reason, it's not on a Nintendo system yet. But you know I'll probably review it if it ever does. Had it on PlayStation, it was with it. Interesting. What's Celeste 64? It's a free PC game that is basically Celeste, but in 3D. And it has like Nintendo 64 style graphics. A trans flag at the end. I don't remember that. I think that was in the DLC though, because if I'm not mistaken, the creator didn't realize that he was trans until like after the game came out, and then in the DLC he like confirmed Madeline was trans or something like that. So that's all that I know about it. Okay, okay. Well, there you go, guys. Just don't pay extra if you don't like all the trans stuff in Celeste. Because I never would have guessed when I was playing the game. Um, I just thought that Madeline had a very odd voice and called it a day. Yeah, Matt. Yeah, I did hear about that. Maddie, and I guess that explains a lot about why Madeline was on the quest. if you think about it. It's not just that when Kazumi, however you pronounce it, was showcasing them where he had nail polish. What do I think about nail polish on a guy? I haven't really given it a whole lot of thought. Um, I personally don't really like nail polish just because I'm more of a fan of the natural look. So, like, I don't really like hair dye. I don't really like makeup or jewelry or anything like that. I just say, you know what? If God made you, He didn't make a mistake. Obviously, God wants us to take care of our bodies, but I think trying to make your body into something more machine than man is something I personally don't like, but I don't think it's a sin technically. Unless if you're vain, then it would be. It was supposed to be a quest about self discovery and acceptance, but making it trans turns it into an anti body message. Interesting. Because I knew that Celeste was all about mental health, but it never would have struck me that it was that kind of mental health. Yeah, that did feel pretty tacked on now that you mention it. If you get Switch Sports Resort and play Thumb Wars, well, I'm my hair is just not behaving today, guys. I'm so sorry. Maybe it's because I went to the gym and I sweated so much. Because like I had to go on a different machine than usual, and it was really far away from the fan. And then when I did put on the fan, it was too strong. And then I turned off the fan and it was too hot, so I ended up getting off the bike early. Well, I'm not going to get Switch Sports, I'm going to rent it. But when I rent Switch Sports, the sport that I'm the most looking forward to is the island flyover mode. I am really, really excited, especially if they don't have a timer, because I remember I hated that in Wii Sports Resort. In Pilot Wings Resort, they increased the amount of time that you could spend in the airplane, but they didn't get rid of it. So I'm hoping that they finally have learned. Like Super Mario Brothers Wonder got rid of the timer, so why can't Switch Sports? So the reconciling with Battleline is like Jung's interpretation of the shadow idea in psychology, where in Christianity is like using your sinful proclivities against themselves. Interesting. Never would have interpreted it that way. I thought it was always just the inner voice saying, don't do this. But I do know quite a lot about the shadow side of the personality. I just don't think most of the people here want me to talk about it. So I will let you guys decide. If you want me to talk about Jungian's shadow functions, just let me know. I don't know. Before I knew about the whole trans stuff, I really liked Battling. It made for a really cool fight. You like boxing and Wii Sports? Yeah, I guess that is cool that Switch Sports Resort brought back boxing. I was never too good at boxing in Wii Sports, so I'm hoping maybe I'll have improved my skills a bit. Honestly, there is a part of me that's kind of nervous about Switch Sports because um, the Switch 2 doesn't come with a sensor bar, so I'm hoping that the gyro is good enough where it can recognize the position of my hands regardless of where I'm standing in proximity to the TV. You used to have that voice in your head speak to yourself in ways you would never speak to anyone else. Headcanon is wonderful, isn't it? Because you can just pretend that authorial intent is non existent. Maybe that's why J.K. Rowling claims that Hermione was always black, even though she never definitively said that until the Cursed Child play came out. And those of us who have read the books, and there are plenty of passages in the Harry Potter books that talk about Hermione having a white face and looking like half a panda. Okay, sure. Go ahead, Rowling. Tell me she wasn't intended to be black from the beginning. We know better than you do. You haven't spoken to yourself in a demeaning way in years. Wish I could say the same, but at least I'm better than I was in depression. Wii Sports had the announcer. Interesting. I actually got into Wii Sports quite late. By the time I did get into it, I didn't like it because I liked Wii Sports Resort so much better. The thing is that authorial intent matters, but the author's intent changes from Matt makes games to Matty makes games to extremely okay games. I actually don't know what he's made since Celeste. So you'd have to, well, besides Celeste 64. So you'd have to fill me in on that. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. I guess, like, for me, it was hard to figure out the balance between being humble versus being too degrading to the self. I have a friend of mine that I talk to almost every day, and she's been really helping me out quite a lot with being proud of my achievements, but not in a prideful way. They were going to make Terrorblade, but the team fell apart, which isn't much of a surprise because all of them have mental health issues among them. Making a game all about mental health, in my opinion, almost never works. The only game I can think of that actively tackles mental health in an effective way is Doki Doki Literature Club. It's especially the side stories. Like, in my opinion, if someone were to only watch the side stories of Doki Doki Literature Club Plus and not play the main game, I still feel like they'd get like a really good experience because it's some profound stuff what they write in there. Whenever you talk about Danganronpa 2x2, you're not going to get the Switch version. Well, I'm going to get the Switch 2 version because I already got Danganronpa 2 on the Switch 1, and it was basically just a port of the PC version. So I'm hoping, because again, Danganronpa 2x2 is coming to Switch 1 as well. So I'm hoping that they actually put some level of work into it so that it looks more like a modern game. Because you could definitely tell that the Switch 1 version of the original Danganronpa 2 was just, like I said, just an upscaled port. It definitely still felt like a Vita game. But I think just there's an oversaturation in the market about like, oh, we have to talk about mental health, but I find that it does the opposite effect where it shows the worst parts of mental health. And then the game ends up not being fun because it tries too hard to be like symbolic. And then you end up just getting a game that I don't know, feels more or less like a walking simulator. What about the Rachel Foster? Oh, I can't stand Suicide of Rachel Foster. Even if it weren't for that ending, I would probably I probably still would hate it because the controls are awful, the map is awful. Um I think I nearly blistered my thumb just trying to get the game to run because you have to like hold in the stick while also pushing it just to run. And it's like, what kind of game has bad controls like that? And there's not a chat log. So, like, if you weren't paying attention to what you were supposed to do, you would completely forget your objective. You got banned from the Celeste creator team's Discord because you said you liked and agreed with some things that Jordan Peterson says. Yeah, I'm not surprised. Although, every now and then, people in the mental health community, like, yes, there's a stigma around them that they are intolerant and toxic, but not all of them. Some of them can be pretty open-minded. You just gotta agree to be charitable with the way that you talk about them. You can't just go all in and say, I think you're a bunch of idiots and you're all just deluded. Like, if you go in like that, of course you're gonna be banned. Because these people want to feel like they can have a discussion, not a condemnation. I mean, honestly, if it were the other way around and they were condemning my views, I think I would call them intolerant and toxic as well. I'd be like, Yeah, I want a dialogue, not you to just be throwing your thumb at me and saying, "Oh, you're an idiot," and all that. You were being charitable? Okay. Yeah, that's the thing. People this is what I've been trying to tell people for a long time. And that's that I just feel like people like me were born in the wrong generation. We believe in the Socratic method of talking to people, but nowadays most people on the internet, they just want to holler. And that's why I've actively sabotaged my channel on quite a few occasions because I've been told that the algorithm favors negative videos. And, I make my fair share of negative videos, but I've been going out of my way to like not make as many so that I can not have to give in to this culture of complaining. Your Discord name is Noah Loves Christ, and they didn't seem sympathetic to religion either. Oh, goodness. Yeah. Yeah. Ugh. Well, that's why I am very selective about who I hang out with nowadays. You were literally reading Crito by Plato yesterday. Socrates is a noble pagan. Justin Martyr said that he was explicitly Christian. Oh, okay, cool. Hello, hey girl. Glad you could make it in. Any good news lately? I forgot to ask the rest of you if you have any good news. So, if you want to back up and say um, anything that's come up or anything excited, go for it. Ocarina of Time remake was cool. Every direct people. So technically, Ocarina of Time is on the Switch. It's just that you have to play it through the Nintendo 64 games. I think what they meant was they wish that an upgraded version was on the Switch. I've also heard other people say that the only reason Nintendo announced it as the end is so that they could get the leakers to shut up. Because if they didn't, then the leakers would just say, "Oh, well, it'll be in the next direct," and yeah, leakers ruin everything. Yeah, yeah. Yoshi and the Mysterious Book. Can't say I was a big fan of that. Donkey Kong 64. I'm at the second world, and I think it's better than I remember it being, especially because on the Switch 2 you can use rewind. Today's the day to wear the Taco Tuesday shirt. How's Pizza Tuesday sound? I actually haven't had pizza in quite a while. Um, I had Burger King the other day, but I had such a bad stomachache afterward that I think I might have just lost my taste for Burger King. We will see, depending on like if I ever have to take a trip out somewhere. But oh, it was bad that last time. What was I gonna say to you guys? Um, well, first off, if you guys have any good news, bring it. Lost your taste for Burger King years ago. Yeah, I probably should do that. I just got to think of a restaurant that's a good alternative. Donkey Kong 64 is completely new to you, and you're loving it so far. So many things to remember that it's forcing you to get up on that effort and yeah, no, there's quite a lot. Like I think it's one of the best looking Nintendo 64 games out there besides Paper Mario. The music is good. Grant Kirkhope never really fails with his soundtracks. And the character animation it was quite ahead of its time. There's a lot of good stuff. It's mainly the segregation that a lot of people don't like. But I found that that's a lot more reasonable the second time around. So I don't know. Maybe it was just overblown. You didn't even see the leak. Yeah, yeah. It's kind of hard not to see the leaks when you're a Nintendo fan, unfortunately. Burger King has a Rainbow Pride burger. Interesting. Interesting. I did not know that. Well, unfortunately, those of us as Catholics have to pick our battles because if you think about it, pretty much every corporation is going to support something sinful. So if we stop buying every single thing the corporations put out, we'd probably not have a whole lot of things we could do. So for me personally, I just either do the whole like lesser of two evils thing, or I just don't explicitly buy the stuff with bad messages. On YouTube, you can direct message people. Really? I knew you used to be able to do that, but I didn't know they brought it back. I'll have to look into that because that would be cool. That would be a much better way of my viewers being able to comment on my videos with something that they want to share urgently but can't think of what video to comment on. You still do some? Not saying it's wrong to buy from places like that, just saying many of them you won't. Yeah, that's fair. But again, there's just not too many places that don't have some kind of evil agenda anymore. I'm pretty sure I remember one time, my friend Dan and I were talking about like how to try to find a place that doesn't support Planned Parenthood or abortion. And nearly every single thing that we use regularly supported them. So we were like, what the heck are we even supposed to do anymore? Like, everything is supporting something evil nowadays. No Danganronpa 2x2 release date yet. I do think it's also a summer release. But if a restaurant has a huge impossible to not notice evil flag on the front, I would say it's scandalous to walk into that building. What restaurant has a huge impossible to not notice evil flag? I must not go to too many restaurants if I haven't seen any of that. When you buy anything, you're supporting animal cruelty. Yeah. Yeah, it is unfortunate. That's why we have to be in the world, but not of it. Maybe we just try to find some tricks. Like, for example, I usually like to rent video games instead of buying them. So that usually will, hopefully, if enough people rent games, maybe that'll get enough people to, maybe enough people have been renting because of my channel that it's getting Nintendo to lower some of their prices. You never know. Guessing August? Yeah, me too. I think either August or July is a safe bet. A restaurant in Seattle had a pride flag? Oh, wow. Yeah, that's why I don't go to the coffee shop in my town, is because they're um, very, very forward about just like, you gotta support all this stuff and you gotta be inclusive to everyone. And then the irony is that they're not inclusive to you and they claim that you're a. Oh no, not another Esabel comment. I'm gonna delete that just for now because it's probably spam. But if it's not, feel free to message me back and saying it was a genuine question. But ugh. The amount of people that assume that we're dating just because we have good chemistry on the camera is crazy. Oh, it was a genuine question? You'd be surprised how many people are somehow think no, never. Isabel and I have never dated, never been interested in each other. We're just really good friends, and I do think she's pretty and attractive, but just not as a partner. She actually just got married on June 1st, and as far as I can tell, she's pretty happy with the guy. But, we had a long talk the last time she came to visit me, and she said that she'll still be friends. We're still going to talk on the phone quite a lot. Um, he he has encouraged her to still be social with her friends even after being married. So I really appreciate that. JP2 talks about how sin is inbuilt into the economic system and other systems as structures of sin. I will have to look into what that means because I have no clue what that sentence is trying to say. Uh, you guys don't have to get on Noah's case, the other Noah. If it was a genuine question, um, I don't want him to feel like we were shaming him. I just find it funny how I never said anything about me and Isabel dating, and people just assumed it because we have good chemistry. I find it more funny than insulting, if I'm being honest. Um, but no, she and I, we met in 2020. Yeah, no, someone did say that we look like siblings when we went swimming, and I thought that that was pretty funny. Because I never would have thought of her as being like a sibling to me. Although it is true that she did cut her hair around like 2025, and ever since then, um, yeah, no, guys, don't be mean. Well, not mean, but it's okay. It's just a funny pattern I've noticed. But welcome in. How am I gonna differentiate the two Noahs here? Um, can one of you give me some kind of a nickname that I can use just for the stream? Do you want me to call you Noah B11 and the other Noah just Noah? Also, what kind of games do you like? Noah B11 unless I hear a better nickname. The Structures of Sin comment was about how every time you buy something, the company supports abortion, etc. Yeah, but then what do you buy is then the question. Have I ever heard of old school RuneScape? I think I've heard of it. I just don't know anything about it. Most of the games that I play are games that have an adventurous feeling to them. So, like, I love some Xenoblade Chronicles games, most Fire Emblem games, most 3D Zeldas. I don't really like the 2D games except A Link Between Worlds. Uh, Final Fantasy VII, the remake trilogy, has been phenomenal. Basically, games that have a thrill of exploration, but also like story-driven games I really like. Like I love Zero Escape, Ace Attorney, Doki Doki Literature Club, Stanley Parable. That's just a few of the games that I like. I have a whole folder on my channel called Video Game Reviews that you can look at if you want to know all the games that I've reviewed. Not necessarily all the games that I liked per se, but I I would say that there's more games that I've reviewed that I like than dislike. You can call you Noah Peter and the other Noah Gaming. Okay. All right, I will do that unless Noah Gaming has an objection. The closest you get to playing games was watching the Witcher series. You know, I heard that I missed out on quite a lot of Witcher lore when I played Witcher 3. But from what I heard from my brother, I'm kind of glad that I did because apparently Geralt is quite the womanizer. So I'm really glad that I gave up on that game because I didn't know that going into it. I thought that like you could make him asexual, but apparently not. Apparently that's like a major part of his character is that he's kind of a bit of a sex maniac. So I guess that's like one of my biggest regrets of playing The Witcher 3 is I wish I didn't have to play as someone like Geralt. You were trying to get into the Resident Evil games. Um I'm not too good at Resident Evil, mainly because they got a lot of shooting in it, and I'm not good at shooters. But I do like. I guess the only game that I would say I'm even remotely good at that's a shooter is Kid Icarus Uprising. And even then, it really depends on the chapter. Resident Evil. Oh, you watched the movies, hey girl. What did you think of those? You tried to play the VR version of Resident Evil Village? You know, I think I'd probably be terrified as well, mainly just because I'm not good at VR all that much. Like, I think I'm okay at Beat Saber on, like, the easy and normal difficulties, but I would say, in general, too much VR gives me motion sickness, which is weird because I don't typically get motion sickness. Like, I've gone on roller coasters and not had a problem, but playing Captain Toad Treasure Tracker in VR was enough to get me dizzy. So I wonder if it's the fact that I'm looking at a screen and moving my head, as opposed to like normally when you look at a screen, you just move your eyes. I should play a shooter then not versus another player. I did. I played Nintendo Switch 2 Welcome Tour, and I was terrible at the shooter minigame in that. Played a little bit of Fortnite. I was terrible at that. What else have I played? Metroid Blast in Nintendo Land. I was terrible at that. I've come to the realization that me trying to aim a projectile and move a character around at the same time, just too hard for my brain to figure out. You like the movies and the different characters? So, what exactly are the Resident Evil movies about? Like, obviously, I know about the games, but I don't know anything about the movies. So, anything you want to share, I'd really like to hear about. Splatoon and Doom are great shooters. Okay. Overwatch is fun too. Okay, that's nice. Well, hey, see you around, Noah. Now it'll be easier to tell apart you and the other Noah. But thanks for coming in and giving your insights. Definitely, you gave me quite a lot to think about. What was I gonna say? I lost it. Hmm. Oh, I got interrupted when I was talking about how Isabel and I met. Okay, yeah, I'll share that story. You can be the worst player at aiming, but you can still have fun at a shooter game. I don't know, Jevil. Even when I play Breath of the Wild, I don't really use the bow all that much. They're about dystopian horror. Oh, so like Hunger Games? That's an interesting take on Resident Evil. So how I met Isabel was I made a video called A Lightning Farron Spirit Battle, where I followed this YouTuber called Lightning Farron, who, by the way, is the main character of Final Fantasy 13. And she named herself after her. And I just wanted to make a spirit battle that would make her happy. So I just thought, what would be the coolest way of recreating Lightning Farron, the character, in Smash Brothers Ultimate? And so Isabel commented on that video. And the thing about gaming channels, yes, she is the mute YouTuber. um, the thing about gaming channels, which is statistically true, this isn't me being sexist, like you can look it up if you don't believe me. It is very hard to get a female audience on a gaming channel. Even female YouTubers have a predominantly male audience. Even if they talk about cozy games, I think they predominantly have a male audience. So I remember thinking to myself, oh wow, there's a girl that really liked a gaming related video that I made. Let me see if she has a channel. And she did. And I liked her channel. Um, I liked her channel so much that I started leaving comments, and then she responded to the comments, and we would have such long back and forth in the comments that it led to us becoming friends on Twitter. And then we talked so much on Twitter that it led to us talking on the phone. And then we talked so much on the phone that it led to us meeting up in person. And now we've met in person 4 different times. And yeah, no, she's been great. But I don't think, well, again, she's married. So I certainly wouldn't want to date her now. But I didn't ever think of dating her. Like, I was open to the possibility if God called me to it, but I wasn't like actively thinking, "Oh, I want to date her." I think we're just too different of people, if I'm being honest. Like, I tend to be drawn toward people that are. That's a good question. How would I describe who I'm drawn to? I guess, like, I would want someone who's relatively aware of like reality, which not saying Isabel isn't, but she's very futuristic. I'm not. So I think, like, she'd probably want to talk more about abstract stuff. I'd want to talk more about concrete stuff. Um, she's a lot more analytical. I'm a lot more factual. You know, there's just we make good friends, but as dating partners, I think we'd be miserable. She prioritizes gameplay and voiceover, and she turns a lot. Yeah, she does. I do recommend you all follow her. Hello, Lodo. Thank you for the pizza. You've never seen this one before? This is my Triforce of Pizza shirt. I got it from my sister-in-law for Christmas quite a few years ago. Because pizza is my favorite food, Tears of the Kingdom is my favorite video game, and blue is my favorite color. So it's the three big favorites. But glad you could make it in. Oh, that's right. Lodo wants me to say his real name. Welcome in, David. Any good news lately? You were online on dating apps, met someone, though you are not dating, you're now considered friends. He's into poetry and you are not. Yeah, I don't really like poetry either. I used to write poems, but the thing about my poems is that I felt like even if you read them not as poems, you could just be like, oh, that's pretty profound writing. Like, I remember one of my most popular poems was called The Great Embrace. And it was basically just talking about Jesus's life, but it rhymed. And people liked it so much that they said, Paul, you should make a song out of it. And I did. And it became my very first YouTube video, which is now privated. But I did make a remake of that song, which is still on YouTube. It's actually one of my earliest videos, and I still think it holds up really well. Just look up The Great Embrace. I'm the one on the guitar. My brother's the one on the drums, if you couldn't tell. He was way more blonde back then, so it was harder to tell that we're siblings. Not that anyone can tell that we're siblings anyway, but it was even harder back then. At least you know what works best for you and her. Exactly. Yeah, no, we're perfectly fine with being just really good friends. And she has assured me that even after her marriage, she'll still be more than willing to still talk to me platonically. Because you are not male slash female, you can always be friends. Nothing necessarily has to be romantic. Yeah, exactly. Um, most of my best friends are women who are in relationships, but just have such trusting husbands that they're okay with um, they're okay with their girlfriend slash wife hanging out with another guy because they're like, hey, you guys are just friends. What the heck? There are some girls in my life that are not that way, which is unfortunate, but the vast majority of them are very, very trusting. You don't understand poetry well? She seems like someone who values her friends. Oh, yeah, I think we would definitely consider each other soulmates and probably even best friends at this point. Like, I would say I have about 6 best friends at this point because I don't like showing too much favoritism. But she's probably the best friend that I talk to the most frequently out of that circle. A lot of guys get jealous, yeah. Not me though. When I was in my first relationship, I would always tell my ex that I wanted her to be able to have guy friends. So whenever she would be like say I was hanging out with another guy and she was there, I'd always say like, hey, go ahead and have a conversation with him. I'm okay with sitting over here and having some quiet time. So I definitely did not want her to be clingy. You met a friend through dating from Discord and you've been friends since 2021. You stopped being part of the server because it has a lot of weirdos. Well, I've heard that Discord is weird in general now, so maybe that's a good thing. Do I always drink water? Um, I always drink water at these streams, unless if I have like an iced tea or something left over from the restaurant. But I try to drink mostly water. But when I go to the gym, I try to drink Olipop or Bloom Pops, which are prebiotic sodas, which are it basically pop that's healthy for you. And it's my motivation for working out because if I don't, I will be like, what's the point of all this? At least you got a good friend from it. Yeah, there you go, Jevil. Looking for the bright spot. You're now friends with this guy. We went out. He lied on his profile saying he's 41. Turns out he's 31. Then you told him, listen, I'm too old for you. We could always just be friends. Oof. I've had someone as a friend lie about her age to me, and that was a very messy experience. But thankfully, we have since reconciled, and now we're good friends again. Friends and be like poet reading buddies or reading buddies. Went to the beach together recently. Yeah, I've had. I wouldn't say I've been to the beach per se, but I've been to the lake with my friends, including friends that are women, and nothing really happened. I think like there's this stigma that like beaches are meant to be romantic. In my town where I'm from though, the lake tends to be more of a spot for kids to play around in and the parents watch them than it is to have a romantic outing, cuz I would say that the place where I go swimming in my neighborhood is one of the worst places for romance. Because yes, it has good scenery, but the kids are just so darn loud that I feel like it would be, I don't know, it just wouldn't be conducive to having a super deep romantic type of experience. The age difference is too huge. 45 to 31. I guess it depends on who you're with. Because when I'm at the gym, I try to talk to everyone. Well, everyone who isn't a stick in the mud. But I talk to all sorts of age groups. Like I think the youngest person at the gym that I talk to is 16. The oldest person I talk to at the gym is about 85. So quite the plethora of age range there. And obviously most of them I only see at the gym or at church. But I typically like I don't want to exclude anyone just because of their age. Like obviously I don't want to do like pedophilic nonsense. But I think there could be a case for common interests in a common location being able to get along with varying ages. But with dating, yeah, I would definitely agree that 31 to 45 would be doable, but probably not ideal for dating. That one friend that you met from Discord, you introduced her to Skyly, and now you three are. Skyly's still around? That's nice to hear. The guy you're talking about, he is quite mature and thoughtful. He writes poetry. Oh, he wants family and children. Yeah. Yeah, in the Catholic Church, it is very expected to at least try to have kids. Like even if you're unable to have kids or like say you get married after the age of fertility, you have to like be open to like parenthood in another sense, like maybe get a job as a teacher where you're like a spiritual parent or be open to something like adoption. It's something I don't know all the details on. I just know that if you only want sex without what comes with sex, then that basically becomes lust, is how the church teaches it. What if you never want to have kids? Then don't get married. As simple as that. Because I think, like, I think there's this expectation that, like, sex is a super pleasurable activity, but yet there's other pleasurable activities in the world. But so many people seem to think that sex is like the most pleasurable one, that it's better than pizza, it's better than Xenoblade Chronicles. And it's like, there are other things in the world that you can do to get pleasure. Like, why does it have to be sex? What does the Catholic Church teach about women who don't want kids? Um, Either that they're not called to marriage, or that if they only want sex without the responsibility, that They only want sex without the responsibility. They don't want to be life-giving to the partner. Because sex, it's a very multi-layered conversation in the Bible, and I'm not sure this is the right place to give the full description of it. But Cliff Notes version, Eve was created to give Adam purpose to his body. And then Adam was created to give purpose to Eve's body. And as soon as they were created, the very first thing that God said was, be fruitful and multiply. And I think, like, even if you just look at the human anatomy, it's very clear that even if we're not called to marriage, we're reminded that our bodies are the ways that they are because that's how you have kids. So, like, the church wants you to embrace what you are naturally built for. Maybe you're just not called to marriage, hey girl, and you know what? That's okay. I don't think I'm called to marriage either. I'm not ruling it out just in case I feel called later in life, but as of right now, yeah, I don't really care about dating anyone at this point. It's a long and complicated story, but short version, there's not really anyone that I'm interested in. That's the short answer. Um, Another short answer is I don't think I'd like the idea of living with someone that could potentially yell at me. Like, I don't really like it when people take out their anger um, in a non-constructive way. Like, if they're just frustrated and they raise their voice in frustration, that tends to get me, like, terrified of them. So I'd have to be really certain that there's a woman out there that would not do that. And even then, you can't guarantee it. You had a pedicure, and because you're sensitive in your feet, I've never had a pedicure, but I don't think I'd like it because I don't like people touching my feet. Unless it's the doctor, if I have like a wart infestation, but who am I kidding? Wart infestations are not fun. I hope you guys never have to go through that. 45 isn't old, you got more than half your life still. In the grand scheme of things, 45 is very young. Like, once you get to heaven, eternity is going to seem so much longer. You just want to watch videos, do your job, read something, and drink cool drinks in the summer. You know what? It's not necessarily a bad thing. As long as, in the Catholic Church, we would say, as long as you're also serving God and helping other people, which indirectly, like, there's a verse in the Chronicles of Narnia which really put into perspective how much Jesus emphasizes love. And that's that in the last battle, there's a phrase where Aslan says, even if they don't know me personally, if they live according to my ideals, I will treat them as though they're followers. So it makes me think that a lot of people in heaven probably might not have actually followed God, but because they lived out Jesus's teachings without explicitly being a follower of Christ, like, he was able to pardon them anyway. That's just my guess. I could be totally wrong about that. Warts are based on a virus, Jevil. So it all depends on, like, what's within your system. I don't remember what causes the virus, but I remember a few common causes are biting your nails. And I think, like, if you're in a locker room a lot, like, you can get warts on your feet. Man, you guys are so brave saying your age is online. Like, well, I guess, like, since you're older than 21, I guess it's not that weird. But I guess, like, when you say your age to a person, it almost feels like like, to me, when I reveal my age to someone, it feels almost like a form of indirect intimacy. Like, when a person knows your age, they know about like, oh, if you were around during this time, then you would have been that. And then there's people that'll say like, oh, well, you're a millennial, so therefore this. Yeah, I know. Hmm? Okay. Okay. No, I'll just wrap it up. All right, guys, I have to head out now. But thank you so much for coming in. I wish I could do the usual thanking everyone for being here, but I'm in a bit of a hurry. So, um, thank you very much, everyone, for being here. Thank you very much for helping me to have a little bit more energy. I hope you all have a wonderful day. And until the next time, remember to keep the faith, stay epic, and God bless. Bye.